Hello and welcome to Northwest Newsweek. OPP confirmed this week that a southern Ontario man died in a collision last weekend between two vehicles in the Greenstone area. It happened last Saturday on Highway 11, about 25 kilometers east of Long Lac, involving a transport truck and a passenger vehicle. Officers from the OPP responded along with Greenstone Fire Crews and Superior North EMS. OPP say the occupant of the passenger vehicle, a 25-year-old man from Caledon, Ontario, was pronounced dead at the scene. Two people in the transport were taken to hospital with undisclosed injuries. The fatal crash shut down the highway between Long Lac and Hearst for around 12 hours. OPP say they don't anticipate any charges to be laid, but they're asking any eyewitnesses to come forward. Nescandica First Nation is under a state of emergency and has begun evacuations of the community's most vulnerable residents. This comes after First Nation was forced to close its nursing station due to flooding. The issue was discovered last Sunday, and the closure of the nursing station and state of emergency were called that same day. The Nescandica Chief and Council began evacuating vulnerable members on Wednesday. The community is asking for a mobile health center to be deployed by Indigenous Services Canada. Former Chief Wayne Munoz says there is a temporary space available for some of the community's health needs, but it is not suitable for any serious procedures.
It's just a small room, an 8 by 10 room, where the nurse is able to assess some people, but there is no things that you would need to do after that. So basically, that's why the chief and the community is asking for a mobile healthcare center.
We are in desperate need for our people's health. You know, any time emergencies comes up, just like in urban areas, and that goes for our small community, because we do have lots of people that are sick.
Community leadership says once a temporary facility is set up, the 130 evacuees can begin to return home. Nearly 2 years after a suspicious death at a First Nation just outside of Kenora, OPP have now made an arrest. 45-year-old Ronald Stone from Wojciech Onigum Nation has been charged with second-degree murder. The victim was 77-year-old Victor Long from Sioux Narrows Township. On April 22, 2023, OPP and Treaty 3 Police responded to a call on Powwow Island Road and found Long deceased. The accused is being held in custody pending a court appearance. Police issued a statement expressing thanks to community members who provided information that assisted them in their investigation. Some good news for residents in Beardmore and Nakenia. The two towns within the municipality of Greenstone have managed to retain some services at their community complexes. However, they will be losing their indoor skating and hockey rinks starting next winter. The decision came during Monday's Greenstone Council meeting following 4 deputations and much debate by Council. The Beardmore and Kiena complexes have been on the chopping block for over 6 months as Greenstone tries to cut expenditures. Council voted to spare the curling rinks and community halls in each complex. One of the deputants was Chief Yvette Mentanisinine of AZA First Nation. She spoke on behalf of her community, as well as BZA and BNA First Nation. She says the complexes are much needed by all nearby communities.
The voices from our community have been clear. Maintaining the Beardmore complex should be a priority. We are open to working with the Beardmore Curling Club towards better utilization and to work jointly to make their proposed year-round lease a successful one, addition to activities in the community.
After the decision to save the curling rinks and the halls, Greenstone directed municipal staff to continue with public engagement and consultations regarding the community facilities. The lawyer for Anishinaabe-Aski Nation Deputy Grand Chief Bobby Narcisse has released a statement defending his actions. This comes after a third-party investigation was announced earlier this month regarding alleged violations of the NAN Executive Code of Conduct. Narcisse has been a deputy chief with NAN since 2021. A confidential letter from Grand Chief Alvin Fiddler to the NAN chiefs confirmed the Executive Council had ordered the independent investigation. Narcissus's lawyers, Doug Judson, issued a statement this week saying, quote, "Our client denies that any of the allegations made against him have any merit or amount to more than a political attack orchestrated to sideline him and silence his sincere concern for the proper, accountable, and transparent governance of NAN." Narcissus is currently barred from NAN offices, but he can continue working virtually with pay as he's entitled to due process. Judson says Narcisse has nothing to hide and he intends to fully cooperate with any fair, independent investigation. The Nuclear Waste Management Organization is looking to form partnerships with the regional businesses as the agency continues to work towards its deep geologic respiratory project near Ignace. Businesses of all sizes can now express their interest online. The underground nuclear waste site, which the NWMO plans to build, would mean hundreds of potential jobs and other economic opportunities. Engineering and environmental monitoring are some of the services the agency needs now or in the near future, according to Vice Ponca, the NWMO's Indigenous and Regional Communications Manager. He says they're looking for businesses of all sizes to help with the project moving forward.
We're not even just looking for just big companies that will want to bid for some of the big projects we have coming up, but also for tradespeople or contractors that will be able to do even smaller jobs. Right now we have offices in Ignace and Dryden that may need maintenance over the years, and it would just be good for us to have that list of the plumbers, electricians, or other tradespeople in the area that could take care of tasks that we may have coming up already.
Interested businesses can now register with the online platform Bidingo to express interest or bid on future NWMO contracts. Fort Frances OPP and Treaty 3 police are investigating after a school bus rolled over on Highway 611 in Alberton Township on Tuesday morning. There were students on board at the time, but fortunately, police say there were only minor injuries reported. No other vehicles were involved, and the cause of the crash hasn't yet been determined. OPP are thanking the public for their cooperation as traffic on the roadway was restricted by police carrying out their investigation. They're also reminding motorists to always drive with caution and to stay safe. Seniors in Fort Frances recently got the chance to question the candidates in Thunder Bay Rainy River. The forum at the Senior Centre in that community featured questions ranging from healthcare to energy, along with Canada's economic future. Jonathan Wilson reports.
Organized by the Retired Teachers of Ontario, the forum saw Fort Frances area seniors asking questions of the federal candidates face-to-face. In attendance were Conservative Brendan Hyatt, Liberal Marcus Pawlowski, Sabrina Rhee of the People's Party of Canada, and the NDP's Yuk Sem Wan. One of the main topics the seniors wanted answers to was how each party would support healthcare in the region and if their party would work to keep healthcare public.
We believe that it's important to actually get people into rural areas, to areas that are underserviced, and that's how our Blue Seal program will work to meet that need. We have to actually fast-track people in healthcare.
I believe everybody, wherever they are, should have access to healthcare, irrespective of their income. And certainly, if you go into a hospital in Canada, that's the case.
We do want to give the provinces options to have privatized care. So, like, say, mental health facilities.
Healthcare is not something that should be parsed out with OHIP and your credit card. So, absolutely, privatization is not a thing.
The Green Party's Eric Arner was not in attendance. The Retired Teachers Organization is described as nonpartisan, with a goal to get more seniors voting, according to political advocacy coordinator Cynthia Woodland. She says the Fort Frances area can often be overlooked, so she wanted to make sure the seniors had this chance to have their voices heard.
I know with the RTO we have they're out there. We do vote, but often we don't share our thoughts with our family members, so they're not always voting. So I think if we could increase the voter turnout, then we know then who's ever voted in has a platform, has know that we're behind them.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
And we'll continue our federal election coverage after the break with a look at the people running in Thunder Bay Rainy River. Stay with us. Welcome back. This week, we're profiling the federal election candidates in Thunder Bay Rainy River. We'll start off with the incumbent MP for the Liberals, Marcus Pawlowski. He's represented the riding since 2019 and says there are still projects he wants to see come to fruition. Jessica Clement brings us this candidate profile.
Marcus Pawlowski is looking to win his third term as MP for Thunder Bay Rainy River. The Liberal candidate was first elected in 2019 and was re-elected in 2021, winning by almost 2,000 votes. Since then, Pawlowski has advocated for the riding and also played a key role in bringing Afghan women to Canada. He says he's running for re-election because he still has some unfinished business.
It's a great job. I love this job. I've been doing it 5.5 years. I want to continue doing it. I've certainly started a lot of things, whether it's getting a lithium refinery here or getting the subway cars for Toronto built here. I want to see those things come to fruition. It's a real privilege to be able to represent the people of Thunder Bay Rainy River in Ottawa and look after their interests.
Pawlowski says there are various local, national, and international issues he wants to focus on if re-elected, with one of the biggest things being dealing with U.S. President Donald Trump and his continued threat of tariffs.
We have to ensure that those don't adversely affect people here in Thunder Bay, and they certainly have the possibility of doing so. But there's also national issues. So, for example, healthcare, the lack of healthcare. People have to wait way too long to get into the emergency room. People don't have enough family doctors. People have to wait too long to get their hips replaced and get their colonoscopies and that kind of thing.
Pawlowski points to his experience in the role in combination with his previous work as a physician, saying that sets him apart from the other candidates running in Thunder Bay Rainy River.
I think it's really important to have a broad, diverse background because everything comes in handy when you're the member of parliament. So whether it was growing up in Brock Street or growing up in Kaministiquia, medical school, practicing medicine in many places all over the world, and big hospitals and small hospitals, my law degrees, and now my experience in Parliament. All that experience comes in and is useful when you have to kind of balance your priorities and make decisions for the community.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Yuxem Wan is making her third attempt at trying to win the Thunder Bay Rainy River riding for the NDP. She says the strong connection she's made during previous campaigns makes her the best choice for area voters. Jonathan Wilson has that candidate profile.
Yuxem Wan is no stranger to voters in Thunder Bay Rainy River. In her first federal election run in 2019, she had a strong showing with more than 11,000 votes to finish a close third behind the winner, Marcus Pawlowski. Then in 2021, it was a similar story, as Wan took home nearly 11,000 votes and had another close third-place finish. She says she decided to run for a third time, not just to campaign, but to finally win the riding for the NDP.
So I started this journey in 2019 when I ran just to build community and make sure that the people were well represented in Parliament. In 2021, I continued that, being able to go out to all the communities, really connect with the people, the organizations, and the businesses. So now in 2025, I'm here to make sure that there are new Democrats in Parliament and that I am the voice for Northwestern Ontario.
When she's not running in elections, Wan works as an OPSU labor law negotiator and convention coordinator. She's also an instructor at Confederation College and is a married mother of 5 children. She says her main priority, if elected, is addressing Canada's struggling economy while also looking out for those who need support.
With the threat from the U.S. as well as the tariffs and really sustaining the Canadian economy. So the top issue has to be uniting Canada together to be able to sustain this and come out of it stronger while still maintaining what makes us Canadian. So where are the supports for the people, the families, the workers, and that's where New Democrats shine.
Wan says what sets her apart from the other candidates in this election is being part of the NDP, a party she feels is always there for the people. As for her personal attributes, Wan describes herself as a solid, dedicated, and articulate leader.
People know who I am as a leader. that I not only am able to connect with the NDP, but also with the people that are looking to me for leadership. So I come with the connections, I come with the work ethics and the ability to really get out there and represent the people.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Conservative candidate Brendan Hyatt is making his first election run in Thunder Bay Rainy River. The long-term educator lives in Devlin near Fort Frances and says his strong connections on both sides of the riding would serve him well in Ottawa. Once again, here's Jonathan Wilson with the profile.
Brendan Hyatt spent over 30 years in the education field as a teacher, principal, and superintendent, and then as the director of education with the Northwest Catholic District School Board from 2001 until his retirement in 2022. Hyatt tried his hand at politics that same year and was elected to council in La Valley Township. He's currently the deputy mayor, but took a leave to run federally for the Conservative Party.
I've talked to a lot of people over the last 18 months looking at actually running, and one thing that I'm hearing over and over again in our area is that people are really having struggles with the cost of living, with affordability, and that, you know what, they need a voice that actually speaks for them when in Ottawa, and they're not feeling like they've got that right now. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring because I think I can be that voice, and I think I'm uniquely positioned to do that.
Although Hyatt enters the race from the Rainy River side of the vast riding, he says he has plenty of family, friends, and colleagues in the Thunder Bay area, providing him with contacts and connections for the role he's hoping to take on. Hyatt says people on both sides of the riding have told him what's the main issue to focus on.
Well, my main priority is to help people. Like I said, people are struggling with the cost of living, and we need to actually put in place some things that help them with that. Affordability for buying houses, affordability with regards to groceries. We shouldn't be struggling if we're actually out there helping our citizens, and I think that that's going to be our priority to help make people's lives better.
When asked what sets him apart from the other riding candidates, Hyatt points to his decades of experience in education, specifically in dealing with tight budgets.
Being a director of education and also looking at the role of deputy reeve, one of the things that I have to be sure about is actually budgets. So I've got a lot of experience with budgets, but the thing is the budgets that I dealt with, they're the public purse. I couldn't run deficits, so I had to learn how to stretch a dollar while still meeting the needs of the public. And I think that's important. It sets me apart because I've done that for more than 20 years of my life, and it gives me a unique opportunity to take those skill sets to Ottawa, stretch the Canadian dollars in the public purse while still meeting the needs of all the people in our riding.
Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
We'll wrap up our look at the candidates in Thunder Bay Rainy River with the Green Party's Eric Arner. He ran in the past 2 provincial elections, and he's now trying his hand at federal politics. Justin Hardy has that candidate profile.
Just 2 months after his last election run, Eric Arner is back on the campaign trail, this time as the federal Green Party candidate in Thunder Bay Rainy River.
Well, I knew that there would be a federal election coming up, and I'd run twice now for the provincial party, and I thought, you know, if there isn't a candidate for the federal party, I would be interested, and I didn't reach out to them. They actually reached out to me, so I thought that was kind of nice. If they want me to help out the party and help out the cause, I thought, yes, I'd love to do that and love to be a part of that.
In June of 2022, the Atikokan schoolteacher was the Ontario Green Party candidate in the Thunder Bay Atikokan riding and received 781 votes. The provincial Greens called on him again this past February for the Snap Ontario election. However, Arner's vote total slipped to 457 on his second election run, far behind the top 3 finishers. So when asked what his main priority would be if elected in the federal election on April 28th, Arner was very realistic regarding the likely outcome.
I won't give you the typical politician response. I know that everyone always says, oh, I'm definitely going to win and I'm going to be your candidate. And I know the odds are pretty long on my candidacy, but I do like to have the opportunity for people who really prioritize and really feel passionately about the environment and about the climate crisis that we're in, that they have an opportunity to voice that, to have their numbers show up on the on election day, and that those ideas are considered important.
Justin Hardy, TBT News.
Time now for another short break. When we come back, we'll have a story about the Screen for Life mobile unit, which is making stops all around the Northwest region.
It's quite the road trip, so we will eventually circle back to Thunder Bay and then head east.
Welcome back. Cancer screenings will get a little more accessible to those in rural areas of the Northwest as Thunder Bay Regional Hospital's Screen for Life coach is hitting the new road for a 7-month tour. Over 35 communities across the region will get access to screenings for cervical, colon, and breast cancer. Jessica Clement reports.
We are going anywhere between Manitouwadge and the Manitoba border, so we're going to hit a bunch of communities that either have limited or no access to these cancer screening services.
The Regional Hospital's Screen for Life coach will be back on the road this spring and summer, giving residents in rural communities the opportunity to receive mammograms along with screenings for cervical and colon cancer. The 7-month tour will have the bus in over 3 dozen communities, including Atikokan, Long Lake 58 First Nation, Pickle Lake, and Sioux Narrows. The bus hit the road on Thursday, with its first stop being Dryden.
We'll do Dryden first and then head to Vermilion Bay, which is a little bit past Dryden, and then we're going to work our way down to Emo and Rainy River. It's quite the road trip, so we will eventually circle back to Thunder Bay and then head east.
Screening coordinator Caitlin Davidson says anyone who is eligible for breast, cervical, or colon cancer screenings can visit the coach. A doctor referral is not required, and the screening is at no cost to those who have a valid OHIP card. Davidson notes that being able to bring the bus closer to those who don't have access to cancer screening services is critical, emphasizing the importance of getting regular screenings.
Early detection is most important because we can treat cancers earlier when they're found earlier. Cancer screening is for patients that have no symptoms, so if you do have symptoms, you would be referred to go to a walk-in clinic or to the emergency department nearest you.
The Screen for Life coach's travel schedule can be found on the regional hospital's website. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The latest winner of the Dryden Regional Health Services Foundation monthly 50-50 draw says he's feeling pretty awesome. Raymond Johnson of Thunder Bay was the lucky winner of March's grand prize. Johnson recently drove to Dryden to collect his winnings of $113,000. He told the 50-50 organizers he didn't believe it at first when he got the phone call that he had won the grand prize. Johnson is a supporter of hospital fundraisers across the Northwest and says the Dryden Hospital Foundation is doing a wonderful job in a small town.
You know, you're getting people from far away buying tickets. You got to keep up doing what you're doing, and you know, like for me to have to drive this far for this is just awesome. I would have drove across Canada for it. Keep up your good work, guys. You know, like, yeah, we'll be buying tickets as long as we can buy tickets. So.
Such a wholesome reaction. Big congratulations out to him, but that is all the time we have. Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of Northwest Newsweek, and I'll catch you next time.